On graduation, I had a health department bursary, so therefore I was bonded for 2 years to work where the health department chose. This really was an excellent scheme on their part of making sure they had their hospitals fully staffed. And I lived in fear and trepidation of being posted back to Invercargill, which really was not the jumping city it is today. So I applied for Auckland, thinking, well, that's as far away as possible. Fortunately, I had a classmate also from Invercargill who was doing specials with me, and she wanted to go back there, so that worked in my favour too. And I was posted to Auckland and had to report to the charge physio at Auckland Hospital to know which hospital I would be sent to. And the government paid for me to have a second-class rail travel from Invercargill to Auckland, including the inter-island ferry crossing. So I came up by train, which was a long haul from Invercargill, and reported to Auckland Hospital to be told I would be starting at Wilson Home for crippled children on the North Shore. And I went over to see the charge physiotherapist, Mrs. Townsend. She and Miss Cooper, the matron, seemed to be the chief organisers of the place, and that was a very interesting unit to work in. Well, a very interesting unit in itself, having been donated to the hospital by the Wilson family of Wilson and Horton, the owners, then owners of the New Zealand Herald, and set up as a children's hospital. And we had a lot of pathologies. Children that were there had pathologies that you don't really see hospitalised these days. This was 1962, and we had all the aftermath of the big 61 polio epidemic, and there were a lot of very little children in bilateral full-length calipers and crutches. We spent a lot of time muscle testing and exercising, strengthening their muscles, walking rehabilitation with them. We had a lot of Perthes disease. These children were characters. They used to wear a little harness that flexed their knee so that their foot was up behind them and they were on crutches. And if you could see these little boys rushing around on the lawns on their crutches, playing football, balancing on their crutch to kick with their one free foot. It was boisterous, and there were lots of falls, but not much damage. We also had the congenitally dislocated hips. Patients were in their spikers on great big beds, great big prams. They were on wheels, and you could negotiate round the corridors with them. And there was a full-blown school within the Wilson home, and I think there were probably 3 or 4 teachers there. So the children would be in school, often outdoors under the trees. They had their classes, and we would come and take the child that we needed and give them treatment, then return them to school. We had a wonderful swimming pool there, and we did a lot of hydrotherapy with these children. There were also quite a lot of cerebral palsy children, and they were there with us until about the age of 12. There were some that were birth injuries, hemiplegia. There was a good mix of patients that you wouldn't see these days in hospitals.